I'm trying to think of who we should have for episode 52.
Yeah.
Because that is very quickly upon us. I gotta try to schedule you for it because like we started this thing together, so you gotta be there for 52. And I'm thinking maybe we'll try to get Thomas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or we try to do one where it's like as many people from the company as we can, right? So it's like a massive just Zoom call of people from the company. That would be another cool one.
That would be, yeah.
But 52, this is 47, so 5 weeks, about a month and a half.
I'm listening.
Yep.
Sorry, let me get my checkbook. I'm setting up the auto pay for my air conditioning.
Yeah, don't forget to do that. That is one of the important things where you live now is air conditioning. You are now on the Florida man level of cooling. So I actually now, do you guys have tiered power rates?
I don't think so.
There's a YouTube channel called Technology Connections.
Mm-hmm.
He did a great video about tiered power rates and how you can use your home as a battery. The dude cools his house to like 68 degrees at night.
Jeez.
And that sounds like a lot, but his air conditioning doesn't run at all during the day.
Oh, because it's just, you must have good insulation then.
He does, but when your house is 68, it's going to take a minute for it to heat up anyways. But he can get power for like 6 or 7 cents a kilowatt hour at night versus 15 to 16 at the peak during the day. And what occurs is if there are rolling brownouts, he doesn't die of heat. He's fine. Whereas somebody like Justin, who lives in LA, where his main power is 25 cents per kilowatt hour, it's 9.5, 10.5 cents for me.
Mm-hmm.
If Justin's power goes out for even a little bit, shit hits the fan, right? Because that's it. Ain't nothing left. So,
yeah.
But I just thought that was a really cool video. It's YouTube channel Technology Connections. And so I'm trying out something similar to where my house is normally 78. When nobody else is here but me, so like when everybody else goes off to work, the house goes up to 82 because I don't care if I'm a little bit warm. I pay the power bill, okay? I want it, to be a little bit nicer.
Exactly.
But, I'll let it get to 82, but what I've done is now it's going to go down to 76 at night instead of 77, right? When it's easier to cool the house down. So at 10 p.m. or 9 p.m. it goes to 76 when it's cooler outside.
Yeah.
But it's not going to start cooling down to 78 until 6 p.m., which is about 30 minutes before my brother would get home from work and a couple of hours before Amber would ever get back. So
right.
I'm going to see how that works for our power bill, because if I can keep the house hotter longer, it should viably reduce the amount that we need to heat and cool the house. Now, I don't ever use the heat. You cold? Put on more clothes. I don't give a damn.
I was going to say, when does it ever get cold enough that you guys need the heat?
If it gets too cold, I'm like, all right, guys, we need to do more sales. I need to heat the house with the 3D printers. Because, you actually can do that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you got enough of them.
Yeah, with enough of them running, we can viably add a non-trivial amount of heat to the house. Remind me, because our busy season is in the summer. But, yeah, anyways, I think we'll give people a couple more minutes to come hang out with us. But I'm excited because I know we never get to hang out anymore. Being adults suck.
It really, it does. Some parts of it are good, some parts of it are bad. The fun parts are demanding, and the not fun parts of it are like a slog.
Remind me of the fun parts.
Like home ownership stuff, projects.
That's fun?
I think so. I like it.
I mean, there's some extent of fun there, but then the other part of it's like, why do I have to do this again?
I mean, I do want to get it done.
That's
I do want to power through it and get it done. My goal is kind of not to have to do as much next year,
I want to be able to do homeowner projects again and, work around the house. Like, we filmed, so I'm going to give people clues as to how far back we are in our videos, but I filmed the hands-on with the Anycubic Wash and Cure Plus last night. But like, Amber's at the beach for the weekend, so she's going to hang out with her girlfriends. And she's a nurse during the pandemic, so Amber deserves it.
She deserves her R&R.
But I had to have John come and help me move things because I can't lift it, and it's like, this is ridiculous. So it sucks. I was able to like scoot things over myself, but like if I needed to pick something up and move it, I can't do it. And so I'm hoping to get some surgery here pretty soon and be back up to normal.
I was gonna say, I remember you a little while back. You had a procedure of some kind. I don't remember what it was.
I had the CT myelogram. Yeah, that was a spinal tap, which I'm still salty about because nobody told me it was a spinal tap till after I recorded my my medical vlog all about it, because I would have made a lot of spinal tap jokes throughout the entire video.
And you stopped leaking fluid eventually, right?
Yeah, about 5 to 6 days, the migraines were getting less and less, and to a point where, all right, it's finally, we're gonna say, livable. Definitely still have headaches, but that could just be because I have headaches.
Drink lots of water.
From my 3D Musketeers branded water bottle, because I definitely didn't just put 3D Musketeer stickers on things. Love it. But yeah, I had a epidural a couple of weeks ago, and I'm hoping to get another one here in the next couple of weeks.
Did it help?
Somewhat. I mean, they're all really weird the way that they work. Some people, these injections are miracles, and for ones like me, it's like, all right, there's something different, but is this progress? I don't know. Because like, it's been so long that I've been living with the chronic pain, I don't know what it's like to feel normal, right? So I have to like get in my head as to what that is like. So that's going to take some time. But either way, we're not here to talk about my medical stuff. I've got a whole thing on the YouTube channel for that. We got the Glimpse of Grant is what we've called that series.
Yes.
We are here to talk about how 3D printing can work for me, and me being you, and you not being Tad, but you being the viewers, the listeners, the regular watchers, the hangers, and all the cool people. But before we get too far into it, Tad, if you don't mind telling the wonderful folks at home, give us the Backstreet Boys, who you are, where you from, what you did, and as long as you love me.
Okay. I'm Tad. I'm the lead engineer for 3D Musketeers. I'm a mechanical engineer by schooling. And when did I start here? 2018? Started working with you?
If not earlier.
Maybe a little earlier.
I'm trying to think of like when we both collectively got screwed. When was that project? What was the guy's name? Do you remember his name or what the project was?
Shree.
Shree, right?
SHRI. Yeah. He was so do we want to go into it?
No, not too much. Okay.
Not like doxing level.
No. I don't want to talk about it too much.
Just in case.
I see May 25th. I have a text message from you. Let's see. I signed an NDA May 25th of 2018.
Oh, the NDA. I remember that. That was...
Yep. So that would have been our first
so
time
unnecessary.
Likely working together. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're on 3 years. Well, I guess I have to like add that to my calendar of my anniversary with you. But yeah, Tad, do you mind telling everyone what you do for your day job?
My day job, I am a troubleshooter basically for a semiconductor production equipment manufacturer.
So are you the one that we yell at because of the chip shortages? Because I think you're the one that we yell at for the chip shortages.
I do not make those decisions. I'm
gonna blame you. I'm gonna blame
low hanging fruit. No. I just that kind of stuff gets made. Those decisions are made way up high.
So I've always been curious, and I guess with your knowledge of the industry, do you believe that this chip shortage is real, or do you believe that it's an artificial shortage that's created prices?
No, it's absolutely a real shortage because a lot of these chips that are missing from things like automotive stuff, you know, they're money makers. So it's basically what happens is in the chip making process, it takes a long time, right? And this is true of any company that does it. It will take 2, 3, 4 months, depending on the speed of the line, to get a chip from start to finish. Just because of the amount of layers that are involved, it has to go to a different operation for every single layer. And I'm not revealing anything sensitive here. This is just the way it is everywhere. Right. And so, oh, hi, Bailey. So the thing is, when the pandemic hit, automotive sales dropped, and they're like, okay, well, our customers aren't ordering as many of these anymore, so we'll prioritize smartphones, computers, all that stuff. So they switch production, they reallocate production to those things to make more of that. And then as auto sales started to pick up again, and the car companies were like, hey, we need more of these. Well, they were like, well, get in line. You're, a couple months, you're gonna have to wait a while. Mm-hmm. So to backfill that missing inventory just takes time to catch up.
Right.
And so that's, the machine turns slowly is essentially the problem.
Yeah, I can I can imagine that it would.
Yeah.
Dang. Also, for those, I was doing something as you're talking. I'm listening to you, but Atomic just had their 10-pack of short spools come into stock. Ooh. 2 minutes ago, they're already sold out.
Oh wow, that didn't last long at all. Well, is it just like a pack of little colors?
It's a 10-pack of short spools, so there's 70% spool minimums, so it's 70% spool. So you're getting 7 kilos or more for $110. Like, that's a good price.
Yeah.
So I just put my my website watcher on the on their page so I can try to get it, because I just got a new shipment from Atomic.
Ooh, what'd you get?
I tried a new. I'm a basic bitch, right? I tried out one of their new colors. This is their ruby red transparent, and
ooh, that's pretty.
Good lord, it's transparent. But I bought some of the same stuff that I always get. The crazy fluorescent orange. We bought some Starry Night and another one of their rose golds. Their translucent metallic rose gold. It's a
their
weird
metallic
color,
colors are so pretty.
Huh?
Their metallic colors are really pretty.
Yeah, and they're actually doing 12% off of 4 1 kg spools through the end of the month, which is literally today, the day that we're filming it. So, yeah.
What's that pink one you got above your head there, behind you?
Oh, this is that is Jesse PLA. That's their pure magenta.
Ooh, it's
so that's
nice
Jesse
looking.
PLA pure magenta. We subscribe to the printed solid filament box, and that was one of the ones that came in last month's box. I like the color. It actually ends up looking pretty cool, but I guess if you have even a mild amount of color blindness, this can be like a huge thing where it does not, because it's pure magenta. It can mess with the cones and crap in your eyes.
Oh, it's just sitting right in that
it sits in that weird
area.
spectrum. Yeah. But yeah, we're actually here to talk about how 3D printing can work with me, or work for me, because we get a lot of questions, right? And past week is no different, where people call and they're like, well, can 3D printing do this? Can 3D printing do that? Can 3D printing work for me? So I said, all right, a good topic is, how can 3D printing work for me? Because I look at it and people ask, well, what's your target market? The answer is really anyone who wants to buy, but we kind of know where people understand this technology. And I think ultimately that's one of the big challenges, is the actual understanding of what's going on here. And so, like, the first question that we have here is, what are some industries that we currently work with? And, Tad, I know that you know some of them, but, let's kind of talk about that, because our reach as a company does not even start to scratch the surface in terms of what's viable. So let's kind of talk about some of the industries. So I know, actually, let's talk about some of the jobs that we've done. Of course, we can't mention names or anything, but let's talk about those industries.
Sure.
Now, I know probably the most prevalent one's probably going to be the food packaging industry, right?
I was going to say, we do a lot of food packaging, not the, so people who are concerned, not the food packaging itself.
Yes, correct.
We do the prototypes.
Yep. We're going to get into that in a little bit.
Yeah.
So make sure you guys stay tuned, because we have questions all about specifically food packaging, because it's one that we want to talk heavily about, because it's underutilized in this industry. Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, that's a big one, because that's one of those where they need to iterate rapidly, and that's what 3D printing is good for.
It is great at iterating rapidly. I know that we've worked in, just your generic engineering is what I'm going to say, because it's so broad spectrum, and that's kind of the weird thing, right? It's like you're a mechanical engineer, but mechanical engineering, dude, that covers like 15,000 different very technical jobs. It's
right.
like, well, okay, so what exactly, engineering, so like everything from your geotechnical engineering, where we can 3D print. It's like geotech is a big deal here in Florida. I actually used to work in the geotech industry. I worked for a drilling company. Background of me is a little bit odd, but I worked for a drilling company, and part of it was going to geotechnical engineers. Geotechnical engineers will look at the core samples that we pull out of the ground when we're drilling for, whether it's a sinkhole, a well. It's not oil, it's Florida. We don't have oil here. We have sinkholes and wells. It all involves water, and it all kind of sucks. But they're the ones that look at it and say, yep, that's a hole. I can also look at it and say, yep, that's a hole, because you have dirt, no dirt, then dirt again. Yep, that's a hole. But I don't have the years of schooling and hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt to prove that I know what I'm doing. But Stevie Wonder could tell you there's a hole there. But nonetheless, geotech guys are now using ground penetrating radar, GPR, to find sinkholes.
They'll just 3D print it.
Right, so you can take that topographical information, and yes, you can look at it in 3D, but sometimes it's really good to get that in your hand, because you might find a pocket. But how big is this? Is it just like, a random, maybe it's a piece of metal that caused the GPR to randomly reflect rather than penetrate. Now you have a hole. With the 3D print, you could see that and put that in your hand and slice it and really look at it. And we've done this before, most notably for a company that does landfills, which is hilarious to me. Because, well, landfills are a fact of life, as we as humans rely more and more on things that are designed to fail, right? Planned obsolescence. Things get thrown away. A great example is this camera. This is a Sony RX0. This camera is dead. It does not work. I do not know why. It was purchased a little bit ago. It's within its manufacturer warranty, and they're expensive. They're like $700 brand new. But Sony's telling me that they're going to do a cursory look at it, and if they can't figure out what's wrong, they're just going to outright replace it.
It's not worth it to them to take it apart.
It's just not. Yeah, exactly. It's not worth it to them. The only bummer is I have a Forever Cam on the front of it, which holds like UV filters and all that. I don't have the original front cover for this anymore, so if they do replace it, I probably won't get this front cover back. And the front cover's like, it's only like $20, but the camera's like $700. And it's like, planned obsolescence is a problem, right? Most people expect that their cell phones are only going to last them 2 years. Or less for some people. I mean, especially if you're a big iPhone guy or gal.
Blech.
Yeah, I know. But,
Apple,
you want that
Apple
latest and
problems.
greatest. You want that latest and greatest, right? You're running you're running a Pixel 3, right?
Yeah,
You're running a 4.
I used to have Pixel 1, and then the screen broke.
Yep.
But,
that never.
Well, actually, no. The
you
battery
never did
died.
get that one fixed, right?
No, the battery died, and then I broke the screen in trying to replace the battery, which you're not supposed to technically be able to do. YouTube says otherwise, but
Yeah, YouTube says a lot of things, and I'm totally cool with that. Honestly, I am totally down with look, it's dead anyways, right?
yeah, why? What's a little surgery gonna do that's worse? Well, break the screen.
Yeah, like if it's already dead anyways, you don't have much to lose.
Mm-hmm.
If you break the screen, the phone didn't work for you anyways.
Yeah.
And
So yeah,
like,
then I just picked a Pixel 3 up and went on with life.
life is just better now. I know,
Yeah.
Pixel Gang and such. But that was interesting with this engineering company because they have to present to the state of,
Mm.
all right, this is what we want to do, and the state says, okay, cool, but what about the impact on the land? What about the impact on the surrounding areas? And so this happens like once every couple of years. They don't work with us often. It happens once every couple of years, but they will send us topographical data of the current landfill, then their phases, and we print them, and they all kind of fit together like a puzzle. It's really cool how it works, actually.
Yeah.
And it's a great way for them to go to the state and say, all right, here's what we have. Here's what we want to add first. Here's what we want to add second. This is what it's going to look like. And at that point, people that don't really understand the 3D design photos, the ones that don't understand the renderings, that can't get an idea for scale, 3D printing can provide that awesome scale that, well, wins contracts. And at the end of the day, winning contracts is important if you are an engineering company, because that's how you make your money. You make your money by winning contracts. And this particular company, they find that 3D printing, it works great. So if you happen to be an engineering company that is in the market for bidding on landfills, hit us up. We'll help you out.
It gets your message across really well.
It
Better
does.
than pictures.
Yeah, because like, if a picture says 1,000 words, what does a physical model say? And if you're going to like a city council or a state representative, all of that matters. If you can come with more ammo than the next guy, you may not be the cheapest, but you've got some ammo. 0576 says hi twice. How you doing? And yes, we are streaming live on YouTube. If you are listening to this audio only, you're missing out on all the fun. Come hang out with us. We're trying to do these like every Saturday at 1 p.m. I might change the time around a little bit, but for right now, it's going to be every Saturday at 1 p.m. I know we have episode 52 is coming up, which is our official 1 year of doing this every single week. And that one might be a little bit different because we're debating on how we want to do it. We might just be myself, Tad, and maybe Thomas.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
We might just try to get the entire staff on, and that would just be a ton of fun, I think, to see if we could get as many of the staff as we could. Kind of talk about their roles and what goes on behind the scenes. But anyways, engineering to me is one of those fun things because there are very few engineering companies. You might compete with other engineering companies, but what you all ultimately do might differ quite a bit. And, again, when you're bidding, if you can walk in with more ammunition than the guy next to you, you may not need to be the cheapest one out there. You got to leave the best impression. And yes, technically, if you're going after like government and state, being the cheapest doesn't hurt either. But having a good track record and really showing off what you're going to do more than the guy next to you is going to get you better quality jobs at the end of the day, right? We don't want more surf sides. We don't want, more buildings that are built subpar. And if you show that you're a premium contractor from the beginning and a premium engineering firm from the beginning, you end up with a situation where you can, one, charge premium rates and get away with it, but two, you're garnering extra respect that your colleagues may not. If they're just going to bring a little, trifold board, maybe a digital presentation, that's cool. but putting a model on the table to show off what you're doing, something that you can pass around to people that they can handle and that they're not going to break. I'm looking at you, architects. I'm looking at you because you're next.
Flimsy balsa wood.
Yeah, if you're lucky, it's balsa wood. It's normally like the foam core stuff.
Paper, yeah, the board.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know, depending on your target audience's age, one thing I've noticed is that if you even mention 3D printing, they're like, "Ooh," because it's.
Yeah, and
Ooh.
that's kind of the problem, right? That this industry has, kind of a bad rap, in that, people end up thinking that 3D printing is the solution to everything, and it's not.
No.
It's not.
It's good for a lot of things, but it's not perfect.
Right, exactly. 0576 asked, what is a good starter 3D printer that you recommend? I think that we can all kind of agree on this one, that it is all about your budget. We actually did a video about this. I'm going to put it in the chat here for you so you can go take a look. But for my money, it's a Prusa Mini, a great starter 3D printer. I'm just responding to them. I think a Mini is a great starter printer. We had someone call earlier. I was actually on the phone when we joined the Zoom call, asking all about a good starter 3D printer. And I said, a Prusa Mini is a good starter 3D printer because you're not going to fumble around with it too much. It's just going to work.
Yeah.
And then a good second printer might be a Creality. I'm going to find out because I bought an Ender 3 V2. And I'm going to unbox it. I'm going to review it as a professional in this industry. See, if I review it as an average user, guess what? Everybody's already done that, right? Yeah. Everybody and their mother's already, done that. But very few have looked at it from a professional standpoint of where does the Ender 3 stand when you compare it to printers above its weight class. I think it's going to end up doing pretty well, but I think its challenges are going to be pretty clear. But I don't know. I'm going to find out. I've never unboxed and assembled an Ender before, so I'm a little cautious, if you will, for how this one's going to end up. But in terms of industry still, architecture is another one that we used to play in. Actually, I've got... I pre-prepared this. No, it's been sitting on my shelf for a few months, and this is a building that we did for an architect. Sometimes I'll print some and hold on to them because they're cool to show off to people. It's also pure white, so it messes with my color balance.
Ooh, that looks really nice.
It is. It was a disaster of a print. It was so much work. Like, so much friggin' work. CJ Kraft says, what level of structural strength has 3D printing reached? Could this become something used to create roofing and housing structures? Roofing, no. I think still the wood, shingles, and all that is probably the right way to do it. But yes, we are creating 3D printed homes. Look at the company Cobod, C-O-B-O-D. They are producing 3D printed homes, and they're putting regular roofs on them. But Habitat for Humanity, actually, God, you guys are really just playing into videos that we've done. I appreciate you helping me out to post more video links in the chat here. But Habitat for Humanity is actually, they're 3D printing a home. I think it's in Tucson.
That sounds right.
Maybe. I'm finding.
Well, there's a big development in Austin, Texas that's been it started recently of 3D printed homes. There's one in New York. It's popping up all over the place.
Actually, I just saw on the news that there's going to be a 3D printed home in Florida coming pretty soon. It's in Tallahassee. I don't know how they're working with the wind rating. So Printed Farms is doing it, but Printed Farms makes agricultural buildings. They don't make residential. And in the state of Florida, we have Dade County wind ratings, which make 3D printing homes very, very difficult.
It should be at least as good as concrete block, I would imagine.
It is, but it's not testable like concrete block is, right? Concrete block, yeah. I can make 1,000 concrete blocks.
They'll all have the same characteristics.
Yeah, because how do we test things, right? We put them into test chambers and we yeet 2x4s in their general direction and we see what happens.
They'll need to come up with a standard where you print a test specimen of the same mixture that you're using
Right.
and do it.
And I
It just
guess
hasn't been done yet.
UL is working on it. I've got some people on the inside of UL that are telling me it's coming down the tubes. And see, the trick is it happens very quickly, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, the exterior is a little bit weird. Most people don't smooth out the exterior, which I kind of like. I like to see the layers. But
Because it's like stucco, right?
but just lines, just like horizontal lines of stucco. And I've said it once and I'll say it again. I would love nothing more than to have 3D Musketeers based in a concrete printed building. One, it'd be a badass tax write-off. Two, it'd make for some badass videos. But three, come on!
I know, that'd be so dope.
Yeah, CJ says, I'd be very interested in updates on the homemade in Florida. Very cool to see history of an industry in the making. Yeah, it hit my Google feed, and it was just one article out of Tallahassee, but when I saw the company doing it, it's Printed Farms, and Printed Farms make agricultural buildings, but they were very adamant that people are going to be moving into this in, like, October.
Yeah.
So
that seems like a completely reasonable time frame.
Yeah, reasonable, yes, but I don't know how they're going to pass the win ratings or if they're going to find some kind of way around it. My brother says sponsor opportunity. Yeah, it would be pretty cool if Kobode or Printed Farms or anybody out there would love to do a really badass video. You can tell if you look back 3 videos and you look at the current videos that we're producing, our quality has gotten much better. It is also because I have switched over to better cameras. And good audio. Like, look at this. Like, I've got not 1, but 2 off-camera recorders on top of the audio that we're getting out of the main camera, which also, these are DJI Osmo Pockets, on top of a shotgun mic that is on the DJI Osmo Pocket. There's a lot of stuff going on here to increase the quality for you guys. So if you do like our videos, please make sure, 1, you leave a like on this video because we love it when you like it. But 2, make sure you get subscribed because we are going to do some really awesome content. I'm going to unbox and review an Ender 3. I'm pretty sure that's going to be Wednesday's video because Wednesday we normally do premieres, and this would be a really cool video to have on a premiere. But yeah, architecture really benefits from 3D printing, and I'll never forget what I'll use is, I think I can use his name, Mickey Jacob, which is hilarious because 3D Musketeers was originally founded by myself, my brother, and Philip Jacob, Mickey Jacob's son. Mickey Jacob is known to be one of the greatest architects in Tampa Bay. He and Jeff Vinnick will trade blows in terms of architecture, but we used to do a lot of parts for Mickey, and it was just hilarious because he's like, I love these 3D printed parts. If someone disagrees with me, I can hit them with it and it doesn't break the part. And it's true, right? You look at some of these architectural massing models and you look at them the wrong way and they just poof into oblivion, right? It's like the Hinge app when you're clicking delete, it just poofs into oblivion. With architecture, 3D printed models are awesome because 1, you can handle them, you can touch them, you can feel them, you can look, you can see, you can... things that you can't do with with the foam board balsa wood models. But 2, they make great things that when the project is done, you can leave it with the person that commissioned the building, right? And that's a great gift for them, and they're not that expensive, right? The modeling is always the upfront highest expense. Tad knows engineers get paid a lot of money to do their work. Now, I will say the downside to 3D printing is your interns will not have a lot of other stuff to do, right? So normally the massing models are done by interns that get paid basically nothing or very little money because, they're working on
it's a time saver, but if you don't want that, then you have a problem.
And, like, don't get me wrong, I love the old school models. I think they're beautiful. There's nothing like a handmade model.
Right.
But those handmade models are so damn delicate that you end up running into problems.
So there's definitely an advantage.
There's a big advantage to it, and of course you can do full color, so you can get it in whatever color you want, although we do recommend against that, because if the customer decides to change their color preference, now that model is effectively outdated. Generally, once they've agreed to a massing model, the model itself doesn't change. The colors might, but the model itself doesn't. Sorry, needed to hydrate there.
You're good. You're good.
But yeah, let's see some of the other industries. I mean, we've done inventing, right? You want to talk about inventing a little bit and how 3D printing is good there?
Yeah, inventing is a good one. So a lot of times it's difficult for inventors to take their idea from the page where, they've done all kinds of drawings and stuff. And then that first sort of proof of concept model is where 3D printing is really good, because you're not necessarily having to actually make the thing for real out of, the same materials it needs to be made out of. You just can get the functional fit test out of plastic for a lot less. And it's a good first step.
And ain't that the truth? I mean, again, prototyping through 3D printing is awesome. You don't have to take a risk anymore in sending a mold to China or getting one cut here in the States. You can utilize 3D printing from those CAD drawings. And the cool thing about companies like 3D Musketeers, yes, there will be lots of shameless plugs in here. If that wasn't clear from the title of this video, I can't help you. Or, I guess, recording. It's how can 3D printing work for me, and we're a 3D printing company. I feel like you could have figured this one out. But, for you to be able to go to someone and say, this is my idea, like, I want to build a new digital voice recorder. This is a Tascam DR05 for those that are wondering. This is not what we are currently recording on. We're currently recording on a Samsung Q2U. Both of us are using Q2Us, which is nice. But if you wanted to make something like this, there's a lot that goes into here. Not just electrical, but also the casing. Things like making sure the battery cover easily snaps in place. But unlike the stupid Vizio remote for the television that we have in the bedroom, that the damn clips don't break off too freaking easy, and God, it upsets me. God, those remotes upset me. But the remotes are like $6. But it's like, I don't want to keep buying remotes as the back plates start to break. But, there's a lot that goes into here. And a company like 3DM, we're able to help you make that happen. Now, you don't have to use us, right? Ultimately, you will use who you want to use. We can't solve that for you one way or another. But what we can do is kind of guide you in that right path. And that's why we started this YouTube channel in the beginning, because we found that a lot of people come to us with wrong information. People that are like, well, I need a non-disclosure. Do you have a patent? Well, yes. Then a non-disclosure doesn't matter.
No.
Your patent literally discloses everything you're doing, or that's patentable at least. So the rest of it does not need an NDA. CJ says, I've been had it, was an ad all along. JK, this is a good convo. I mean, the channel is called 3D Musketeers. You see the nice little ticker at the bottom of the screen. It's all kind of an ad, basically. But it is a way for us to connect with the community and for me to branch out instead of doing lots of professional stuff, but to do more stuff that's fun. I like the fun stuff. You're going to find out I really like... I love to review 3D printers, and I give them honest reviews, and because I'm both a hobbyist and a professional in this industry, like I do 3D printing personally, but we also do 3D printing professionally, I can look at it from two different perspectives and say, this is really great for newbies, or, oh my god, the average professional is going to think this is the worst thing ever designed. So, get subscribed, because we're going to do some cool stuff about that. See? Look at that. Good CTAs in here. But other industries, aerospace, of course, but as aerospace is getting, what's the right word, very mature in this industry. They are 3D printing rocket engines out of Inconel. Hi, SJ. And doing amazing other stuff.
They know how to take advantage of it.
Right. They're looking at it and saying, we don't care if we spend $2 million on a printer. It's going to enable us to reach those new altitudes that we couldn't previously, pun intended. And when you look at what SpaceX, Blue Origin, United Launch Alliance, all of these organizations are doing, they're utilizing 3D printing to save weight, save space, and make things better, right? Rocket engines are no joke. And if you think they're a lot
of those parts are ones you couldn't make with traditional machining.
Exactly. And we've shown off some metal parts when we did the Stratasys truck tour video, which was still a really fun video to film. I am so thankful they just left me unattended in that space. It's just like one of those, oh, you're not going to stay in here with me? No problem.
Well, you're doing their job for them at that point.
I mean, but I get to talk
you're spreading the word.
Well, I get to talk about stuff, frankly, from the perspective of, someone that's not a huge fan of Stratasys, and show it off for what it is. And I'm not going to come in there being like, oh my God, it's Stratasys. I'm like, no, it's just cool 3D prints inside of a really expensive trailer. But yeah, there's so many industries that we've played in. Personally, the medical industry is probably one of my favorite, whether we're doing like parts for medical machinery, like we do parts for x-ray machines, which is pretty cool. Of course, they're non-end use parts. Well, I mean, they're end use parts, but they're not parts that humans interact with.
Right. It's just part of the machine.
Like even parts that are fire retardant. We've done fire retardant parts for x-ray machines, which are really, really cool. Like, think about it. You can literally hit the part with a blowtorch. It will melt, but it won't catch fire. And that's a UL94V0 material. It's like got certifications and such. And I enjoy those parts because, one, the money is great, right? When you're doing high-end parts like that, your material costs hundreds of dollars a kilo, so you can sell it for thousands of dollars a kilo. So there's good business in there. But boy, that material
is tough to work with.
And it stinks.
Yeah.
If regular ABS smells, fire retardant ABS is truly one of the stinkiest materials I've ever worked with in my life. It is so bad.
Maybe wear a respirator around that.
I have been banned from printing it indoors. We have to go print it in the garage, which is now my sets. At the time, we didn't have the sets for the YouTube channel. So if we have to do those parts again, it's going to be really stinky where I'm filming. But that's fine. I'll probably just print it inside of the laser and just use the laser's ventilation system to pull out the stinky air. But yeah, medical's fun because of the stories, right? We are on call for quite a few hospitals in the area to do medical 3D printing for them. And this is all pre-surgery prep. So the good example that we've always used is a neonatal ICU, where they need to do open heart surgery on a premature born child. Well, cutting little Timmy open is not always the smartest move if you can't get a good idea. Well, little Timmy is probably pretty damn little. And if you can 3D print something even overnight, right? Preferably in a few hours, but overnight if need be, so that the doctors can get a better idea of what they're looking at before they go in, it makes life a lot easier. They can come up with a plan. And of course, now with, high-end CT scans where you can take that and create a 3D model, which, yes, for those of you that are wondering, we can take my CT myelogram and make a 3D model out of it. Video on that is coming soon. So if you want to see me print my own spine, that'll be fun. And if I can, I'm going to try to learn some basic Blender, and I want to fix it. I want to actually fix it.
This is what we need to fix.
This is your back. This is your back with 2 herniated discs. Do you see a problem? But yeah, medical modeling is great, and it is that feel good that some of the other industries don't give you, right? Making cool stuff for engineers is fun, and it pays really well, but you don't come out of it saying, I did good. Like, I did a good job, but how is this going to impact humanity? How's this going to impact someone? And when you do medical stuff, you're like, I know this will end up impacting somebody, hopefully, positively because of the work that we did. And to me, that is the most rewarding, right? I love helping inventors get their ideas out of their head and into their hands. Like, that's part of our pitch. But I love being able to really help people. And I think, that's why you're a part of this company too. You have that same kind of mindset. And it's very clear when we hire in people and maybe they misrepresented themselves on their initial interview and they don't have that ideology of, this is about the people, this is about helping others, it's about doing good. When that happens, it's like, all right, yout, because it doesn't fit for us. We are all about doing good. I've even looked at becoming a B corporation, but we're not profitable enough to where a B Corp would matter.
Yeah.
B Corps donate portions of their revenue, and they also do lots of green initiatives into green technologies and all that. And I would say that 3D
Corporate
printing,
social responsibility.
yes, that. And I would say that 3D printing is a reasonably, responsible organization, but I think Out of Darts, their YouTube channel, put it the best. We've got a big problem, and it's these spools. And I've got hundreds of these, and there are no maker marks on most of them. The atomic spools do. Let me see what they are.
It looks like ABS.
Yeah, but I actually think it's polystyrene.
Really? Hold on, let me grab one.
It's PCABS.
Okay,
It's PCABS.
I knew it had to be ABS in there because it's all. Yeah.
Also, Atomic makes the coolest spools, okay? Like, let's be real.
Oh, they do.
With the atoms. Oh, it's so
It really is it's that artistic touch.
Yeah, they're PCABS. That's filament and spool made with pride in the USA, which I love. This is a really, really nice color. I wish Atomic would give us a reseller or referral code or something. Oh no, this one
does not have.
this vacuum seal is broken.
Oh, well, I mean, it should be mostly good.
It's fine.
Slap some tape over it.
I'm just not going to care about it because it really doesn't matter. PETG will get a little bit stringy, but I have dryers here. We can just dry it and reseal it. It's no big deal.
Yeah, this Prusa research spool I'm holding does not have it anywhere with the material.
Is that a Prusament spool?
Yeah. No, this is what just came with it.
Oh, yeah, that's not... I don't think Prusa actually makes that. I think they still outsource that to a local company.
When can we buy Prusament? Are they ever gonna... Or we can buy Prusament. It's just not
Yeah, it just doesn't
cost
make sense.
effective. Yeah.
If you buy from Prusa, generally buy on Black Friday and buy enough for the year.
They have good filaments. Really
They do,
good
and like they're trying to get it on Amazon. I think it's on Amazon. Let me find out. But it's very expensive. Last I checked. Yeah, Prusament's on Amazon, but their Galaxy Black is $50 a kilo. Like,
You're paying for that metrology is what you're paying for.
you are. You definitely are. So let me see. Shop.Prusa 3D. Ooh, excuse me.
You all right?
I'm not sleeping much because of all the pain.
I mean, that's understandable.
Yeah. So Galaxy Black is $25. And their Jet Black... Oh, so their PLA is $25. Their PETG is $30. Yeah. Yeah. That's basically how their pricing goes. And I know they've got some other materials, but it's the shipping generally from the Czech Republic that kills it for most people because it's very, very
that's expensive.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean that's that's kind of where it is. And I guess the next question was, in your opinion, which industry is the most fun to work with in? I'm gonna let Tad answer this one, but I know my answer.
I want to say food packaging.
I think food packaging is fun.
Yeah.
It's fun because we get to really play around with designs and things that really nobody else has tried, right? In an increasingly digital world where people wanted to go outside, but then they were irresponsible, and now none of us are supposed to go outside.
We can't have nice things.
Literally the reason we can't have nice things, because of that, food packaging needs to get better, right? If everybody is using the same ridiculous polystyrene containers and you all know who the people are that use them, you go into the fridge and you're like, I don't know what the hell this is. I'm just going to eat it, right? I've probably used my fingernail or a knife and carved my initial on the top so I know which one is mine. But if it was branded and it was somewhat clear and it had space for the product, the food, and it was able to, bento it out into different areas, and maybe if there was sauce, maybe the sauce could be somewhere else and it didn't have to go with the product, or there are so many ways that you can look at food packaging in a way that is elegant. It's very common when Amber and I go out to eat, which is not common anymore, but when we used to go out to eat, that I would ask for 2 to-go containers because I'm taking one home with me, so I can get an idea of what they use and as well who the company they work with is, because ultimately we want to work with food packaging companies. They are a lot of fun to work with, and because
it's fun.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say it's fun because you get to see like a rapid turnaround of your ideas, and things change pretty quickly.
Exactly. And even further, when you get to see the products out in the wild, that's when it's like, the most fun. It's like, we did that. We did that. And there are some like national food chains that we've worked with, which is really cool. And unfortunately, we're under non-disclosures for a lot of them, but we are going to be doing some stories about how we've helped the companies behind it. But we're not going to name any names because we work with a few right now, but we want to tell those stories because, one, most food packaging companies don't know that 3D printing can help them. And so that's your first problem. That's actually a problem for most people, is that they don't know that 3D printing can help them. But then, 2, they don't understand what it does. So we're going to be producing content surrounding that, but it might just hang out on our website. I don't know if it's going to end up on the YouTube channel. But for me, the most fun are the inventors. It's always the inventors. And whether you're the crazy inventor that believes your idea is worth $10 billion, or you are the person that is actually pragmatic and believes that you can bootstrap it if you work hard, work with the right people and work with experts, you can generally find the right solution. And I like that because that journey is a fun journey, and the journey is so fun that we actually work with patent attorneys and patent agents in-house. So we have people that we work with that we trust. We work with injection molding facilities here in the United States. Hi, Mike. You're probably not even aware that we have a YouTube channel, but that's okay. Hi, Mike. How you doing? But we work with injection molding facilities so that if you are an inventor and you want to get your idea out of your head and into your hands, we know the right folks. Right? We have a non-disclosure already. We do not accept outside non-disclosures unless you are a large organization or government entity. We have our own. Otherwise, do not bring me the same generic one that all of you find on Google. I will not sign it. You can use ours. Ours is a mutual non-disclosure. It's very simple. If it could just be one line, it would be both parties collectively agree to not be dicks. Signed, date, done. Because that's basically what an NDA is. And I'm going to be very clear here. We are too busy with the YouTube channel, with clients, with marketing, with writing, with research, and with me, chronic pain, to be giving any shadow of a damn about stealing your idea. Even if your idea is really good, I don't have the time.
Ain't got no time for that.
There is a reason that we have chosen to be a very small sector of product development, right? And we work with other people, right? If you want to do branding, you're going to go hang out with Thomas. And Thomas does work with us, but Thomas is an independent person as well, right? I don't know shit about branding. And if you disagree with me, go look at some of our previous old episodes, not in the 40s. Go look in like the teens and the early episodes before Thomas was involved.
We did a lot on branding.
We did 3 separate episodes on branding because it's very important to brand yourself. But the inventors are the most fun because they all have unique stories. Their products are sometimes, the really cool, sometimes really weird. But always there's a story. And for me, it's all about that story. I love those stories. Which industries utilize 3D printing the most? And I guess I don't think that's a question internally for 3DM. I think that's an external question. Tad, what do you think?
I mean, manufacturing nowadays it's all over the place because you want to be able to do prototyping before you put out that capital outlay for parts and materials and machinery. So that would be one. Like you said, architecture is a big one.
Architecture is actually moving away from it. Architecture is moving into VR. They are
just do it digitally. Not even have to wait for it.
Don't even have to wait for it. Yeah.
Let's say you've already got the model.
Which kind of sucks because we built a core of our business around architecture and they don't do massing models anymore.
It's a nice showpiece.
It is a nice showpiece, but in a world where lumber's up 40% still, ain't nobody got time for that extra cost. So if you are an architecture company, we have experience. We were previously allied members in the AIA, but I let my membership lapse during COVID because nobody was getting together, and the whole thing of the AIA for us was to rub elbows some of the biggest architects in the area, to not only help them solve their problems, but to also go check out really cool buildings and be involved in really fun events. It's like we did the Taste of Design back in 2019 for the AIA of Tampa Bay, and we did charcuterie boards for them. There were slate tiles that we engraved, and if you've ever seen laser engraved slate, oh, it's chef kiss beautiful.
Oh, it's nice.
It's so nice. Yeah, I want to do a line of engraved. I've seen them online, so like I kind of want to copy it, but I want to do it like for me personally because I have the laser, but of coasters that are squares or rectangles, because the colors are almost identical to that of IC chips. And so you can do like a 555 and all the stuff on the 555.
Yeah, exactly.
The triple nickel timer circuit. I'm like, that would just be cool, right? It looks cool. But yeah.
That'd be easy to set up.
But the actual industries that use it the most, automotive and aerospace. So, but now there's the municipal aerospace, which is like Boeing. Boeing is technically an aerospace company. They're also a defense company if we want to get really specific. But yeah, companies like Boeing and trying to think of other plane companies.
Lockheed,
Bombardier,
Airbus,
right? Bombardier?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Bombardier, yeah.
Think of like your Gulfstreams and all of that, your Cessnas, they're using 3D printing heavily. Boeing and Ford, to my knowledge, are the two largest utilizers of 3D printing. I would guess Lockheed's probably
on production
in the top
parts.
5. Yeah, so not just in prototyping, but end-use parts. Actually, a really cool company. This is like one of my favorites. They don't, they're not a big user of 3D printing, but they use it constantly. Kohler.
Yeah,
Kohler.
I've heard about that.
We actually had, and I talked about it on the last podcast, but we had I've talked with engineers from Kohler about this, because toilets are one piece. They are not multi-piece
single
molds.
Molded thing.
It is a single molded thing, and there's a lot of waste involved because you still have to have a bond line. So the bottom of your toilet, like where it attaches to your floor, is the seam. Then there's a bunch of stuff that gets cut off. Well, they 3D print these molds first to make sure that the toilets actually work. And they have like analogs for human poo. It's just so cool. It's like one of those things like, oh, all right. So I'm going to give a little howdy do to Olivia. She probably doesn't know about us either, but that's okay. Hi, Olivia. Thanks for hanging out and talking poo with us one night on the 3D Druck chat.
I've been to the Kohler Museum in, where the hell was that?
In Kohler, Michigan?
Yes, Michigan.
Wisconsin.
Was it Michigan or Wisconsin?
I was on a road trip.
It's Wisconsin. Yes.
Yeah, it's the village of Kohler. It's a village in Wisconsin.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was going to say, and that was a really cool museum. People are like, you enjoyed the toilet museum? I'm like, it was awesome. There's just so much that goes into making that kind of stuff.
Happy Farang says, I'm doing product design. I'm a better designer after getting a 3D printer. Oh,
yeah.
Margot Rupert gave us that it is in Kohler, Wisconsin. And, and Happy Farang makes a great point there that, yes, if you are a product designer, also, Happy Farang, email us, because we are looking for more product designers to join us. It's all independent contractor work, so you can still do your regular stuff, but we are looking for more engineers, so email me. It's in the description. But if you have the ability to iterate your products for yourself or your client very, very
such
quickly,
good feedback.
Oh my god, it's great. And that's where the name of rapid prototyping comes from, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's literally where it comes from. Is that so yeah, I know Ford is very famous for having tons of 3D printer stuff. And it's actually 3D printing was the source of a recall on, I think it was the V6 Mustang, where
it's like a manifold or something.
Yeah, there was the intake manifolds were blowing up. They would end up, because every now and then cars will have little backfires that occur. Well, the 3D print withstood it, but the injection mold didn't. And if you drove your car really hard, your intake could blow up, I believe, and it would, they would just kind of crack and it would fail.
It seems like a bit of an edge case, though.
It is a complete edge case because there was not a 3D printed part in an end use, but that was where a 3D printed part outperformed an injection molded part, likely because of the stresses involving injection molding. Now, I don't know if they ever released an official report. I think that they just quickly patched the problem, made all the bad stuff go away, and moved on with their life, as most automakers do. I'm looking at you, Ford, for the Pinto. What is the most unexpected thing that we've created for a company? I'm going to let Tad answer this one as an engineer that's created stuff, and then I'm going to answer it from the person that's had to make the stuff.
That's a tough one. There are a lot of things that are like, oh boy. I want to say one of the more ones that I was like, what is this? In recent memory was bath bomb molds.
Yes.
Those are fun. And I was like, I didn't know that this was even a thing.
Yep. Yeah, it is cool. Though that is bath bomb molds are fun. So we would make the masters, and then a local person would vacuum form over them. But I laugh. That job specifically is a job that I'll never forget. It came in at 10 p.m. December 31st of 2020. Literally the last job of 2020. And what is it? Penises. It was multiple penises. Peni?
I guess.
Sure. That we had a 3D print. And I said, if that does not encompass the entire year of 2020 in one final job, I don't know what does.
It's memorable.
It is
That's
absolutely
for sure.
memorable. If nothing else, it's memorable. But for me, the most unique or most unexpected, Smithsonian.
That was a good one. They had a lot of stuff for you.
You can't, I never expected that phone call. And I remember my reaction of, no effing way. No way. In my head, I'm like, I'm over here I'm about to explode in excitement, and I have to contain my excitement and say, with all due respect, I don't know if this is a prank call. Do you mind emailing me? And the email came through, and I think I just about lost it. This was so many years ago. I think the next one would probably have been when we worked with Snoop Dogg, and then maybe the life-size Steve Aoki that we produced. In that order, I think. But, working with people like Merrill Dixon. What's his real name? I forget his real name, but Merrill from The Walking Dead. We worked with him. We worked with Coral. We worked with Coral. We worked with the voice of Mario. We worked with Sid Haig, the late Sid Haig. Now, we did 100 Sid Haigs for Sid Haig so that he could sign them and do a charity auction for them, which was so cool. We worked with the Shakur family. That's Tupac's family. I mean, we've worked with so many. The Kardashians. God, the Kardashians. We worked with Justin Bieber and Ronda Rousey and Dan Bilzerian, but those are all full color sandstone parts, and they're not indicative of the work that we do anymore. So I might end up putting photos of those up again if you guys want to see them. Maybe we'll put them on our Instagram.
It'd be cool to see.
But yeah, those were the crazy parts. When you're working with celebrities, and when you work with Snoop and he's like, you can call me Calvin. I'm like, hell yeah. Or you're working with the Shakur family, and Tupac's mother is just really kind to you. So Happy Frank says, now I'm making a CNC wood factory here. The 3D printer is great for that too. A cobbling break. Reverse engineer it and print. Oh, okay. So if something breaks, you can reverse engineer it and print something new. You can make polishing tools, vacuum jigs. Exactly. And 3D printing is great for that kind of thing. And I think ultimately, locally, I've talked about this before, but I've called local manufacturing companies and, CNC manufacturing shops, and they're very common in port cities. So if you live in a port city, you probably have a lot of CNC business. And I got cussed out by no less than half of them, because they're calling me a communist, that I'm trying to make them more efficient and run better. I'm like, no, this is capitalism, guys. But they're old school and they don't want to get rid of their people, and that's fine.
Right.
So how can 3D printing be used in the food industry since it's not food safe? And we talked about this a little bit earlier. It's in the prototypes. Tad, can you talk a little bit about those prototypes and
Sure.
what they're used for?
Yeah. So generally, like a lot of what we've had has been either clamshell packaging or like the two-piece, with the bottom and then the lid.
Yeah.
And a lot of times our customers will have ideas of how to innovate on that, put things in different places, add little pockets for silverware or that kind of thing, make the whole idea of, when you put all the packages into a bag in a stack, how to make that more compact or stack better, or be able to add things like sauce packets and stuff and have a place to go.
Exactly. Right.
Or on the inside, how to divide things in a more, as you said, elegant way.
Yeah, we found that efficiency is not always the goal. It's not only make it be efficient, but it is more to make the product look good, to make the food that is inside of it look good. And that was something that I don't think I expected. But I guess ultimately it makes sense, right? These companies want their product in your refrigerator, on your tape, in your bed, if you're of the person that eats in their bed. Because maybe your dining room table is full of electronics parts. Don't at me. But you want that branding to continue away from the restaurant, right? If you are getting to go right now, it's generally contactless to go. You're popping your trunk, they're putting the product in, and you're leaving, right? You don't talk with anybody. You're paying through your phone.
Exactly.
Or you're using DoorDash or Grubhub or Uber Eats, where the food comes to you, right? That bag should be branded. The tape that they use to ensure that the Uber driver isn't stealing your McDonald's fries is branded. The containers should be branded. And yes, for smaller businesses, this isn't exactly possible, but I assure you it can be. You can create custom stamps with your logo on it. Get, whether it's the bagasse, the paper bowls. So if you go to Chipotle, the bowls that are like that paper, right? That's called bagasse. It's actually the byproduct of making corn syrup. It's all the corn husk and corn fiber that is then effectively pressure molded. It's not injection molded, but it's like die stamped, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe.
in a big punch.
Yeah, punch pressed, something like that. And that's really cool. It's a great way for us to use byproduct. But like you can stamp that on the sides, on the bottom. You can get pad printers that will print it on there. And sure, that's not going to be as good as a national chain. Like you're not going to be able to beat, a Chick-fil-A for brand awareness. But how many people found out from TikTok that the little thing in the center of your Chick-fil-A 6-piece nugget is to fit over the straw so you can eat it in your car, right? Like it's that kind of stuff. People are like, this is for that? Yes, but it's because the company that designed it didn't do a good job marketing it, that people don't understand what it's there for. And so food packaging is a great way for a company to extend that branding into the house, right? Like this is not, you can't buy these. I use stickers, but I covered up the company's logo that was on here because it's terrible. The company name is Bubba, I think. Yeah, Bubba, B-U-B-B-A, which is a terrible name for a water bottle company, right? That's a great name for a redneck comedian, but not great for a water bottle company. So I covered it up because one, I drink it on stream and, branding, but two, it was a pretty terrible brand, and this is easier for me to do. And if packaging companies and food companies look at extending that branding into the home, when you are looking for that Outback steak, you don't accidentally grab the Chili's burger, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're looking for that nice medium rare steak with probably way too much leftover bloomin' onion because you thought you were hungry and then the bloomin' onion hit the table and you're already 4 pumpernickel loaves deep, all right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to at anybody specifically, but I do like myself some Outback, all right? You know, if you get that wrong thing, your entire morale of going for that steak is like, oh, guess we're having a burger. There are people that will not put the food back and will just take whatever they get out. And if you are a company that wants to have that brand recognition, my brother says he feels attacked. I think a lot of people are going to feel attacked, and I don't care. I'm also attacking myself. But extending that branding into the fridge, extending it into your car, extending it into even the driver for Grubhub, right? As they're smelling the food, they remember where it comes from because the bag is branded. Branding matters, and if you disagree with me, we'll get you in contact with Thomas, and he can verbally abuse you over the phone and tell you why you're wrong. But yeah, it is very important. And yes, 3D printing is not food safe unless you have a food safe 3D printer. Your material can be food safe, but if your printer is not food safe, then it doesn't freaking matter what
And
your
why
name
is
is,
that?
Jabroni.
Because the surface roughness leaves all kinds of little places for things to live in there.
Exactly. Yeah, the micro cracks, little nooks and crannies. Here, I still, why I have not put Loki back after filming the video with Loki, I don't know. But here, I'm gonna bring it up to the screen. So if you're listening audio
look how
only,
good that looks.
just bear with me. But basically, there are lines. There are lines, and I'll put it up to my microphone and.
Yeah, you can hear it. That's your fingernail going across it. So, places for things to move in and live.
And Happy Farang says you can cast stuff from your print. That is absolutely correct. You can. And a great way to make a smooth cast from a 3D print is to coat it in beeswax. But yes, you can cast stuff in a urethane or a food-safe material. That will work just fine. But raw 3D printing, generally speaking, is not food safe. There are
You could even use it for masters for, metal casting if you really wanted to.
My doctor does this.
Yeah.
My doctor utilizes 3D printing for lost metal casting, which is fun. My general practitioner, a guy I've been seeing for 4 years now, 5 years, at least 4 years.
Yeah, you absolutely can.
5 years. It's been 5 years because I've been working with him before I was working with Amber, and I was working with him before we moved out of the shop. But yeah, I met him because he was a client, and I found out that he was an ARNP, technically. He's an Advanced Registered Nurse Practitioner. Hi, Scott. I don't know if you watch our YouTube channel because you probably know a lot of the stuff, but hi, Scott. How you doing? Thanks for meeting with me virtually on Friday. I didn't want to come in all the way to your office. Thanks, dude. But yeah, it can be used for a lot, and you have to remember that you can put food in this, right? And a lot of the companies do. They put food product in the 3D printed parts, but this is food that nobody eats. It gets immediately thrown away, which is, yes, is incredibly wasteful, but welcome to the world of product development. Anybody that's in product development tells you there is a lot of trial and error. There is a lot of waste. There's a lot of wasted time and energy on top of any plastic and crap that goes into it. And yes, Happy Farang is right. Raw 3D printing is still too slow for large-scale stuff in terms of numbers anyways, in her opinion. Or in their opinion, I guess I should say. And yes, 100% agree. 3D printing is not designed for large scale. And you can get big resin printers, big FDM printers, printers that print fast. But generally speaking, if you're printing large and you're printing fast, you're not getting quality. So I think it's, what is it? Cheap, fast, high quality, pick two.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes.
Yeah. If you're lucky, you get to pick two. Sometimes you get to pick one, and you're gonna like it. You're gonna pick one, and you're gonna like it. But yeah, on top of this, right? You don't have to put product in. This can be a great thing you can use for market research. You can put it in the hands of your designers. Like if you're a 3D modeler that works for a food packaging company and you have the ability to 3D print something, get it in your hands, show your boss this cool new idea. right? They might yell at you and say, "No, Johnson, this is not what we're going to do. Get out of here," because they don't get it. But if you can put it in their hands with a 3D print and say, "Boss, I know you weren't too fond of this, but I really think this is a good idea. I 3D printed a sample so you could see it," you might get a change of heart out of that. And that change of heart, big freaking deal. Something to keep in mind there. So what are some of the advantages of kids learning 3D printing in schools? Because that is getting to be a big thing. And we actually talked about this last week with Cole in our 3D printing education episode. Because we do find that 3D printing in schools is actually more of a problem for the educators than it is for the kids. Because generally speaking, there's extra money left in a budget. 3D printers are bought. They're thrown at people that have no idea how to use them. And then maybe the education isn't great. But if you get someone that understands the education about it, that understands how to use it, what are some benefits?
It can be a great tool.
Yeah. How so?
For education, it's a look into the world of science and manufacturing and engineering, and it gets kids thinking, right? It gets them coming up with new ideas. It's a great starting point for that. It's also just fun to be able to have an idea and learn a little bit of basic CAD, and then there you go, you have it in your hand.
It's true.
I wouldn't say that you can flesh it out a ton in high school. Well, in high school, a lot of schools now are offering classes for CAD and stuff, so you can do more with it. But in lower grades, it's probably just a great showpiece and a good inspiration, and then you can kind of build upon that as you go through school. And it is a gateway to other skills, I would say.
Yeah, this is the right kind of gateway drug as far as I'm concerned. It is a gateway to getting more people into STEM-related industries, and especially, we've talked about it before, but lady makers are not very common, and we would all love to see more women in engineering roles, because the fact that it's male-controlled is for no honest, valid reason. We can definitely get some more ladies in this industry, and exposing guys, gals, somewhere in between, somewhere none of the few, when they're young, gets them to understand not just the technology, but like you said, the limitations. I think personally it's very valuable in the home as well, because every parent wants to be that parent where their kid is making the coolest projects for school, and you can do that with a 3D printer at home. Happy for Rank says, clients have no vision. Never show a work in progress or explain a concept. Show it as the final one will be. This is true in advertising, marketing, and product development. Yeah, you're right. Anytime that we send in progress photos, I have to put like massive disclaimers. This is not finished. This is not done. This is not the final part. And even then people don't read it. They're like, why does this look like donkey ass? Like, because you clearly didn't read the all the things that say this is not finished. Yeah, it can be a pain, especially when you're working with people where the projects might take multiple months, and like there's no updates that you can provide that aren't going to be like, oh yeah, we took 4 steps back so we could change something. Well, exactly. In the grand scheme of things, those 4 steps back don't mean jack diddly squat to the end client. But if they want updates all the time, we have to give them. We struggle with this, and it's something that I don't do well. I don't update our clients enough because I'm afraid that we're going to run into this exact problem where people don't understand that this is an in progress thing, and they look at it as it's the first time you see your baby, and your baby doesn't look the way you expect. Your entire idea of how that baby should look has been changed. Nerdcopter gives us prototype in air quotes. And it's true. You can say that it's a prototype, but that doesn't mean people are going to listen to it. Doesn't mean people are going to understand it. And yeah, that kind of sucks. It kind of sucks. And so to build on that, how will having 3D printing in school potentially influence the future of these kids? Oh, we lost Tad. Oh, now he's back. Hi, Tad.
Oh, I hear you now.
Good.
Yeah. Hey.
Okay, so let me reiterate the question. How will the having access to 3D printing in schools potentially influence school children as they grow up?
Part of me says I don't know because it's a little early
I mean,
to know the
yeah.
full scope. But I mean, the ways I could think, like, let me look at my own time in school and think of how it would have changed. I think um, I would probably have wanted to do engineering earlier. Um, especially if I had a good teacher who said, like, yeah, look at this. We can make little projects around the classroom, but this is what you can do with this in real life. You know, that would have been because I didn't really decide to do engineering until I was like in sophomore or junior year of high school.
Well, and I think we all know that, like, if like I love to build projects in school. It was one of my favorite things when we had a project. I would just turn that bad girl up to 11, right?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely turn it up to 11. And it was a ton of fun. But if I had access to 3D printing back then, I would have really pissed off everybody else in the class more than I already did. John and I were ruthless
Mm-hmm.
when it came to school projects. We would be the kids that would follow the rules but be absolute dicks about it. A great example, and I love my dad for helping us out with this. We had to build a catapult for a school project, and it needed to have a base that was 2 foot square or less. So we built a base that was 1.9 feet square. It had eye bolts on the inside, and you use those big screws that hold in tents, like that they're like 12 inches long and a big massive corkscrew. And then we went 8 feet with outriggers in either direction.
It didn't say you couldn't do that.
The base was still 1.9 feet. The base is what touches the ground. If you have outriggers that don't touch the ground going out 8 feet in either direction, you are following the rules. You're maliciously compliant, but you're following the rules. And if my life has taught me anything, the best type of compliance is mildly malicious.
Oh, yeah.
And this was a big ass slingshot, and this thing could huck water balloons like it was going out of style. Yeah, we pissed everybody off on that one. It was bad. John says we were the Katie Ledecky of science projects. Who's Katie Ledecky?
Swimmer.
What did she do?
Gold medal, I believe.
Okay. There is always one person that's going to win gold. Has she just won a lot of gold medals? She's 24? How many Olympic medals she won at 24? Holy crap. Oh, she's won. Okay. Yeah, she's won quite a few gold medals. She set a lot of world records. Oh my god. Dude, oh my god, I'm looking at her Wikipedia page. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Oh, she did win 1 bronze. Shame. My god.
It happens.
That's star-studded right there. Jeez. Oh god, I walked away from the comments. Oh, don't you dare Google her now. She beat her school record by 20 freaking seconds. Dude, she's the female Michael Phelps without the devil's lettuce. She currently owns records 1 through 15 in the women's 800 meter. She literally owns the top 15 records in the women's 800 meter. That's ridiculous. All right,
She's
so yes,
there.
we were the Katie Ledecky of of school projects. But yeah, I would have loved to see it, and if I ever end up with kids, whether adopted or otherwise, I will be sure to abuse the system and utilize all of 3D Musketeers' resources so that they can clearly beat the hell out of the other school kids.
Yeah. Oh, hey, Bailey.
Oh, yay, Bailey's here. And then she's gone.
No, she's still there.
Will more industries become more involved with 3D printing as a result? I believe absolutely.
I'm sure. It's gonna slowly infiltrating into everything.
I hope that it does. My hope is that it does. Will it? I don't know. I hope it does, though. I would love nothing more than to see 3D printing be utilized more in industry, right? No matter what those industries may be, I want to see it get used more often.
Well, I think it's just it's constantly being improved and new use cases are coming up for it. So
It's absolutely true. And yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. 3D printing itself has so many opportunities out there, and I think ultimately people just have to let this new technology into their hearts. They have to learn to they don't have to love it, right? You got to learn to accept it, right? It's that crazy cousin that you don't like all that much, but you know, they're blood and there's nothing you can do about it. You don't have to like them. You just have to accept it. And eventually you learn, hey, maybe we're not all that different.
exactly.
I hope that, you know, if kids are coming out of high school, going into college, utilizing 3D printers there, that they're going to be able to use it more in their day jobs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's an early exposure to a useful technology.
Well, and ultimately it will make end jobs more efficient. And as a business owner, what do I want? I want efficiency. Efficiency makes me money, right? The faster we can do something, the less manpower we need to do it on. And don't get me wrong, I love working with staff, right? I want our people to get paid. But if we can find ways to work faster, I can just pay our people better per hour so they still make the same amount of money they used to make. We still charge the clients the same amount, but we end up being able to get things done faster. That's why book time exists. Book time for mechanics where, okay, an oil change takes 2 hours. Well, most oil changes can take like 20 minutes if you really rip through it. Well, you get paid as if it takes 2 hours. So if you can do 6 oil changes in 2 hours, you've just done 12 hours of work according to your pay rate. And that's a big deal. That's how you can make good money. So book time. And so how can 3D printing, and Tad, I think this one you'll be able to comment on a ton. How can 3D printing be used to make assembly lines more efficient?
Here we go. There's different aspects of this that you can attack it from. For like the actual working part of the assembly line, if you have like tooling or jigs or even fixtures in some cases, you can 3D print a lot of that depending on what it is. Just things that make assembly easier. If it's stuff that's hand done, for automated assembly lines, you can do prototypes of the tooling that's involved.
Right.
And then obviously for the product itself, the rapid iteration before you settle on your final production is good. And then if you have to make a change after things are already, rolling, it's easier to do that.
Exactly. And if you are utilizing hard tooling and you're using hard jigs, hard fixtures, and like you said, maybe there's a revision. What the hell do you do with all that steel and aluminum? It gets thrown away. Or it goes on a shelf to sit there forever. And, well, metals...
If you can avoid it in the first place, that's your best bet. Yeah.
Exactly. And a 3D print is not only acting like a soft jaw, right? Because you can easily make it out of a nice, soft, even a flexible plastic if you wanted. But you can also do things that you might need more complicated CNC machines to do. So let's say you need to print on a surface, but that surface requires you to use a 5-axis mill to actually build the jig, but you only have a 3-axis mill. Well, you can go pay someone a couple $100 an hour, or you can actually build the jig yourself in CAD, 3D print it, and use it, because even though technically this is all 3-axis work, it's layer by layer additive rather than layer by layer subtractive. And that is where I think 3D printing really brings value onto assembly lines. Is if you have product lines that change, I'm looking at like even 3D printing companies like Prusa, Creality, and putting those two names next to each other just feels dirty, but we're going to be doing this today, so I got to do it. Where they make iterations, where products change, things change. Having the ability to modify your jigs, your fixtures on the fly with a machine that is not all that expensive, that doesn't need a dedicated person to run is incredibly valuable from a business standpoint. We talked about some ways 3D printing is used in the health industry, but I don't know, Tad, do you know of other ways that it's being used?
Yeah, 3D printing is used to produce like joint replacements, and not even like molds or things, like the actual um portions of like
Yeah,
my
the
mom
actual
had her
joints.
yeah, my mom had her knee replaced like a month or two ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the part of it was milled titanium that goes into the bone. They drill it out and they bond it in there, and then the I wish I knew more anatomy. Basically replacing the cartilage for certain parts of it is a uh what the heck was it? Was it Teflon?
Probably
Basically
Teflon,
3D
PTFE.
printed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um exactly. So there's that. There's different kinds of tissue engineering is now a lot 3D printed. I think I sent you something about that a while ago.
You did,
Um,
yeah. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
they could 3D print collagen lattices on to which they can graft and culture like cell um,
Yep.
stuff. So like if you want to grow an ear, you basically have a CAD model of what the ear is supposed to look like. You grow it in collagen and you colonize it with the tissue cells that are going to take over that. And I think there's a way to like then make the collagen like dissolve, and then you're left with it's
Van
gonna
Gogh would
be
be
more
proud.
and more. Yeah,
Van Gogh would be proud.
it's going to be expanding as time goes on, and I think it's going to be one of the ways that we can get away from a lot of organ transplants.
I agree. Yeah, because that transplant list is rough, and
And
hearing.
rejection and all that stuff, and it's like it's just
Yep.
there are things that could be improved.
And like hearing from a nurse, hearing from Amber, where talking about organ donation and how some people believe that you'll get crappier treatment in a hospital because you're an organ donor, so that they can harvest your organs, is absolute and utter malarkey.
Not in this country.
I mean, it could be. It is that's a capitalism thing, but at least in the hospital that Amber works at, it is malarkey. They do everything they can to keep people alive. That's kind of the goal there. And if for some reason you don't make it, donate your damn organs. That way you can go to help somebody else when you're dead. But Happy Frank says, I 3D print tons of jigs. Some combined with routed parts, some combined with casted silicone parts where I print the molds. See, that's awesome, right? That's a great use of it.
Yeah.
And they also said someone printed a heart. It didn't work, but all the bits and bobs were there. Yep.
Yeah.
We have
It's getting there.
Organovo. If you guys like stocks, Organovo, they trade under the ticker ONVO. They are a biomedical 3D printing company that is currently in trials, I think, for the pancreas, the liver, a couple of other things. But their big thing is the collagen lattices with stem cells. That's what it's all about. And look, if you guys want me to talk about the 3D printing stock market, I can. I'm not a financial advisor. Clearly not financial advice. We'll do a video on it if you guys want to see it. But it is a very, very volatile market, so don't play with money you're not willing to lose. That's simple.
Yeah.
Right? Basically, if you want to put $500 into the 3D printing stock market, take that $500, set it on fire. Depending on how things go, you might get 1,000, you might get nothing. Who knows? And so, Tad, what made you decide to join this industry?
Well, so I joined as a CAD designer, as you
Right.
remember well.
No, I have no idea.
But I'm sticking with it in the limited capacity lately that I have been, because it's just really fun to work on the diversity of projects that come in, and like you said, it's really cool to meet different clients and hear their stories, and people from all walks of life use our services. So
Yeah, it is fun.
it's always interesting. It's always something new, and I like that.
I do as well. For me, I just kind of fell into the industry. I was a hobbyist, started doing parts for other people, and it just kind of exploded from there. But yeah, I think there's a lot of overlap in this industry, and I think that 3D printing can be valuable to most average people. Now, how can 3D
you can
printing
find some way.
Exactly. Now, how can 3D printing work for you specifically? Look at those pain points, right? Do you run heavy machinery? Do parts break? Do you have a car that's old and clapped out and you need to make parts for it? Or did you just move into a house and maybe you want to make a custom shelf? Maybe you want to have something that fits your decor, but nothing else exists out there. Maybe you're a product designer that wants to be able to iterate quickly so that you can turn clients over faster and make more money. Or maybe you're a medical company, a food packaging company that wants to work on their branding, their ability to produce parts faster, more affordably, and lighter weight than metal, or be able to impress your clients with really cool hands-on stuff. 3D printing can be valuable to most people. You just have to think about how it can work for you. Now, of course, this is a little bit of a shorter episode. I know, Tad, you have to get rolling soon. My back is killing me today. I am yawning like crazy because I slept like absolute crap. So we're going to end this one a little bit earlier than normal. But how can 3D printing work for you specifically? Well, that is, of course, for you to decide. Like, you kind of thought we were ever going to be able to answer direct questions. But remember, we live stream these every single week on our YouTube channel. So if you guys want to come hang out with us, please do. Go subscribe, make sure you like the videos, and support us, because YouTube videos do cost a fair bit to make. We're okay with the cost, but your support helps make it a little bit easier. But yeah, I love 3D printing. I think a lot of other people do as well, and I want to see it get utilized more in industry, and particularly people that understand its value from the get-go.
Right.
And that's
just
the
an
big
education
deal.
issue, yeah.
Like, if I have to fight with you to explain to you why this is good, I've already lost. And sure, I might be a good enough, I was going to say educator, but communicator to describe all the ways, right? Describe to me all the ways that it's good. I might be able to do that. But you've already came in with predisposed notions that this industry is not going to work well for you.
Right.
And we here at 3D Musketeers aim to solve that problem, and it's a 3-pillar system in this order: educate, empower, create. Now, if you come in with all that education, we just got to get you empowered. You got to understand, and then we can create. Because if you try to create without education or being empowered, you're going to have a problem. And if you try to be empowered without education, you end up becoming a dictator. And if you try to do the stuff out of order, it doesn't end well. And that's why we've started with our Back to Basics series. It's why we're going to be moving into more, unboxing videos, ways to get people motivated to do these kinds of things. And then we're going to move into creating things. And Tad, I don't know if you watched last podcast, but at 10,000 subscribers, I did agree that we would build a centrifuge and put a 3D printer in it and see what happens when you put a 3D printer at like 6 Gs.
I think we could do it.
Well, we have Johnson College up in Scranton, Pennsylvania, because we had a professor on from Johnson College. He said, I will absolutely turn this into a senior design project.
That would be such a good senior design project, because that's it's like a small diameter centrifuge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely doable.
Well, and I told him, I said, but we have to have it in Florida, right? I want it to be on my property. I said, then we hopefully we hit like 10K subs in like the dead of winter for you guys.
Yeah.
You come and have a week in Florida. We write it all off as a business expense, right? Everyone just comes and hangs out. We build a big ass centrifuge. We get a bunch of slow motion cameras, and it's either going to work or it's going to just tear itself apart. And either way,
it'll spin. It'll spin, but will the printer work at that? I don't know. Depending on the rigidity of the printer, you might be surprised.
Well, and that's why we're going to build a box big enough to fit most kind of generic 3D printers.
Yeah.
Amber's not keen on it being built large enough for a human, but I do have some spare racing seats laying around. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God. I saw a patent from, when the hell was it? It was a centrifuge for helping women give birth. I'm not even kidding. Just look at the picture. Oh, this is from the 60s. Yeah.
Bob said Florida gets winters, and I accidentally said 1 to 2 days a week, but I should have said 1 to 2 days a year. But yes, we do get a winter. And see, the problem is when it gets icy here, the entire airport shuts down. Because we don't have de-icing abilities.
So why would you need it?
Yeah, we have to wait till the sun comes up and thaws the ice so the planes can take off. But yeah, if there's any amount of like even minimal ice on the road, everybody freaks out. Facebook is full
School
of,
gets canceled.
Oh, look, there's ice on my roof. It happens every year, right? Yeah, school buses can't ride in ice, so they don't go out. And like this is ice that if you just wiggle your feet a little bit, you're on concrete. Okay.
Yeah.
You don't need snow chains.
It's slush.
Yeah. No, I think it would be a lot of fun. Dangerous as all hell, but I think it would make for a cool YouTube video. Anyways, guys, stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones, and as always, keep making awesome. This was chapter 47. How can 3D printing work for me, for you, for us, for the world? We'll see you guys later.
Thanks.